Hare Krishna. Attack by Chandavega on the city of King Puranjana, the character of Kalkanya. This is chapter 27 of Canto 4 from Srimad Bhagavatam, presented by Priyanka Haripriya. Puranjana enjoys with his queen and forgets time. Puranjana's, as we know from the last chapter, that Puranjana got his intelligence, dharmic intelligence back. So now he engaged a lot with his wife and he forget about the time. So this chart, this table majorly describes the Puranjana's activities and their spiritual significance. So we know Puranjana here is the Jiva. So Puranjana enjoyed, after bewildering her husband and bringing him under her control, Puranjani gave him all satisfaction and enjoyed with him. So giving up the inclination for sinful life, the Jiva becomes attached to dharmic intelligence as before. The king welcomed his satisfied queen, who approached him having bathed and dressed nicely, garments and ornaments. Seeing the happiness of his dharmic intelligence and being free from the contaminations in his mind, he felt successful. Embraced by the queen and attracted by her private talks, King Puranjana became captivated by her and could not realize the passing of time. So Jiva loses his intelligence for crossing samsara and gets engaged in the material world. One must engage oneself and his family in Krishna conscious activities. In this way, Puranjana always remained in the arms of his wife and becoming overwhelmed by the mode of ignorance. He could not understand the meaning of self-realization, neither as the Jiva nor of the Lord. His wife here represents Dharma. Associating with Dharma, he became attached to Dharma, and that became the goal of his life rather than liberation. So in this way, his youth passed away in half a moment. Puranjana's family life. In his wife, he begot 1,100 sons and 110 well-qualified daughters, who gave fame to their parents. In this business, he passed half of his life. In purport, Prabhupada mentions that human life is meant for advancing in Krishna consciousness and not for begetting large number of children. Also, Garbhadharan Sanskar, a child begetting religious ceremony, is very important to perform to beget good qualities children. To increase the descendants of his parental family, he got his sons married with qualified wives and his daughters married with qualified husbands. Each son produced hundreds and hundreds of sons. In this way, the whole city of Panchala became overcrowded by his descendants. Panchala Desh refers to the field of activities where the Jiva enjoys sense objects, actions and reactions, pious and impious. The Jiva generates are represented by sons and grandsons here. Living entity, being inclined towards sexual gratification, becomes involved in many hundreds and thousands of actions and reactions. These sons and grandsons were virtually plunderers of King Puranjana's riches, including his home, treasury, servants, secretaries, and all other paraphernalia. Puranjana's attachment for these things were very deep-rooted. King Puranjana became implicated in so many desires, just like you, Prachin Barishat. He worshipped demigods, forefathers, and social leaders with various animal sacrifices. So in this verse, Narad Muni frankly says like you, which indicates the King Puranjana is none other than King Prachin Barishat himself. Being attached to fruitive activities as well as kith and kin, and being obsessed with polluted consciousness, he eventually arrived at that point disliked by those who are overly attached to material things and women. That is, he finally arrived at the point of old age. Chandavega attacks Puranjana's city. The Gandharva king Chandavega and his 360 very powerful Gandharva soldiers, each with a female Gandharvi's companion, surrounded and repetitively plundered Puranjana's city for his sense enjoyment. So Chandavega means very swiftly passing away. So time passed away very swiftly. 1 year contains 360 days, and soldiers of Chandavega here represents these days. As sun rises and sets, it snatches away the balance of a lifespan. One's life duration cannot be saved by any means. But if one is engaged in devotional service, his time cannot be taken by sun. So, if one wants to become immortal, he should give up sense gratification. So this table shows the character and what actually it represents. So Chandavega here represents time, Gandharvas, days, 360 days, approximately in a year, Gandharvis, nights, white pairs of Gandharvas, waxing phase of the moon, black pairs of Gandharvas, waning phase of the moon. Chandavega and his followers surrounded the city and plundered it. So this represents from birth, every day one's lifespan is plundered by time. When Chandavega and his followers began to plunder the city of Puranjana, a snake with 5 foot, that is the life ear, who was superintendent of the city, began to defend the city. He fought alone with the 720 Gandharvas for 100 years. This fight is called the struggle of existence. Seeing that the serpent had become very weak from fighting alone with so many soldiers, the king Puranjana and his friends and citizens, limbs of the body, became very anxious. King Puranjana fearlessly enjoyed sexual indulgence in the city by collecting taxes from the 5 provinces, that is 5 sense objects, Panchal. He was completely controlled by women and he could not understand death approaching. The story of Kalkanya, the daughter of Chandavega. At this time, the daughter, Jara or Kalkanya, of formidable time, Chandavega was seeking her husband throughout the 3 worlds, although no one agreed to accept her, but she came. No one likes to become old and invalid, but this is inevitable for everyone. Everyone will become old. Because she brought misfortune, she was known as Durbhaga, ill-fated. However, once a great king accepted her, being pleased, she granted him a great benediction. So here in purport, Prabhupada explains the story of King Yayati. She met me once when I, Narad, came to this earth from Brahmaloka. Knowing that I was a brahmachari, she became lusty and proposed that I accept her. The great sage Narad Muni has a spiritual body, therefore old age, disease, birth and death do not affect him. When Naradji refused, she became very angry and cursed him that he would not be able to stay in one place for a long time. So in purport, Prabhupada says that the curse of Kalkanya is fortune for Naradji, as his business is to make everyone a Vaishnav. There is no need for him to stay in one place for more than the time he requires to preach, since by his own free will he is already travelling all over the universe. After she was thus disappointed by Naradji, with his permission she approached the king of Yavanas, Bhai or fear, and accepted him as her husband. So if one accepts the instructions of Narad Muni, the ocean of Bhai can be very quickly removed by the grace of that great Vaishnav. A devotee knows that after death he is going back home, back to Godhead, and therefore he has no fear of death. Kalkanya to Bhai. Kalkanya said, I desire you, the best of Yavanas. I accept you as my desired husband, for I know that no one is baffled if he makes friends with you. So there are 2 types of ignorant men who are lamentable according to common understanding and the scripture. First, those who do not give charity, and second, those who do not accept charity. Since Kalkanya, the daughter of the time, was deputed by Narad Muniji to offer herself to Yavanaraj, the king of Yavanas could not refuse her. Therefore, Kalkanya said now to Bhai that please be merciful to me and accept me. It's a gentleman's greatest duty to be compassionate upon a person who is distressed. Hearing this, Bhaya, desiring to execute the Lord's confidential duty, spoke to Kalkanya while smiling. Kalkanya here represents invalidity or old age. Yavanraj wanted to serve Krishna purpose by introducing Kalkanya everywhere. The appearance of old age is an impetus to spiritual life. The king of the Yavanas tried to utilize Kalkanya for this purpose. Bhai to Kalkanya. After much consideration, Bhai said, I have arrived at a husband for you. Although you are actually very inauspicious and no one wants to accept you, this world is a product of fruitive activities. Therefore, you may imperceptibly attack people in general. Held by my soldiers, that is diseases, you can kill them without opposition. Subhaya here indicated that the karmis of the world will be her husband. After enjoying them, she will destroy them. But she should not approach the devotee of the Lord, just like she could not approach Narad Muniji. Here is my brother Prajvara, that is Vishnu Jvara, fever sent by Vishnu, and it is said it is 107 degrees. You become my sister. I shall employ both of you as well as my generous soldiers to act imperceptibly within this world. So, to make Narad Muni's word true, Yavanraj accepted Kalkanya as his wife and also as his sister. Naradji was immune to the attack of Jara or invalidity. Similarly, Jara or the destructive force cannot attack any follower of Narad Muniji or any other pure Vaishnav. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.